Hi, my name is Taylor, and this is my Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, Winlee. We are here to answer some questions to put on our blog, which is called King Winlee the Cavalier. If you are looking to buy a Cavalier, there may be a lot of questions that you are asking yourself. Winlee is almost 2 years old. He's tired right now, so. um, he's a tricolored Cavalier, so he's brown, black, and white. Um, my first question that I was going to answer, because there could be a lot of questions, when you're looking at a Cavalier, even when you're choosing any kind of dog. So, some questions that I've seen online that I'd like to answer. Here we go. So, number one, what is the temperament or personality of a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel? Well, if you can see, they are very lazy. They pretty much adapt to any lifestyle. Today I have a snow day because I'm a teacher, and we are just cuddling on the couch doing some lesson plans, and he has just woken up from his long nap already today. Um, he will sit with me or my husband all day long on our lap. He's never very far away from us, but if we are outside, playing basketball, going for a run, he'll be right there with us. So he adapts very well, but they do like to sleep a lot. They're very cuddly. They like to be on your lap. So great personality, though, very loving, love to give kisses, so just be ready for that. They are the best snugglers ever, right? Right? Yeah. So my next question is what do I look for when I'm trying to find a Cavalier? First things first is their face. That's going to tell you everything. Um, when you go to a breeder, you need to really ask a lot of questions. And the first thing is I need to see is mom and dad. What do mom and dad look like? And that's going to tell you what your Cavalier is going to look like. If you look at their face, Winlee, they have those big brown eyes. All Cavaliers have the big eyes, so you need a Cavalier with those big, beautiful brown eyes that melt your heart. The next is the nose. The nose is everything. They have kind of like a medium-sized snout. It's not pushed in. It's not really long. It's just in the middle. Very cute. The next is the ears. Tired, bud? The next is the ears. They are curly because they are a spaniel, but they are short. Um, the next is body type. Winlee is very tall for a Cavalier. He's just built a little bigger. My parents have a Blenheim Cavalier who's like half the size of Winlee. He's just a little smaller. They do, they can range. When Winlee became full size, I was like, oh my goodness, he's so big. But it's just that type. It just happens. He's just tall, like some people are. So the next question I have was, um, when I'm going to a pet store, should I be buying a Cavalier from a pet store? Um, you can, but again, you need to really look at the features of your Cavalier that you're looking at. My problem with pet stores is that the parents aren't there for you to look at, and you want to make sure that the money that you're spending on a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. That's my next question is what is the price tag on a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel? Um, if you are going to get a Cavalier, you really need to realize that the price tag is pretty high on them. They range from about $1,500 to $2,000 or more. We realized that the Cavalier was going to be expensive, but the personality of them and how they fit into our family has just been perfect. So the money didn't really matter. But if you are seeing Cavaliers that are for sale for like 400, 500 bucks, you need to ask a lot of questions about that. Because when you are looking for a Cavalier, they are very expensive, and you need to make sure that you are getting a real Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. My next question is should they be spayed and neutered? When I bought Winley, we signed many contracts that, she didn't want us to breed him. She didn't want us to show him just because the breeder, that's her name on him and everything. So we signed those contracts. Personally, for like having a male, um, we I didn't think twice about, spaying him. My one problem that I have right now is he gets so excited when my husband or myself comes home, and he drizzles a little bit because he gets so excited. They said that that would, help when he did get spayed, but it hasn't really. He just gets so excited and he's so happy when we're home. So he has a hard time just controlling. It's nothing crazy. It's just a little spray. But my next question is what type of food should I be feeding a Cavalier? That's actually a great question because for myself and my husband, we have gone through many different foods for Winley. We have found out that he has a very sensitive stomach, and we're actually in the process of seeing if he's allergic to some different ingredients in his foods. How we found this out was that we feed him right in the morning and we leave for about an hour and a half to go work out. And when we come home, if he has eaten any of that food, he was going to the bathroom immediately. And that really hurt his house training. So we have gone through many different types of food, just trying different things. And when you are trying different foods for your dog, there is a process that you need to use to find a different food. First things first is that you can never change the food just cold. You have to mix it in with their old food to get their stomachs used to it. Being a small breed, they have sensitive stomachs. So you can't just change their food one day. You have to gradually, for probably a couple days to a week, add that food in a little bit, get them used to it, and then take away their old food and try the new one. We have done Blue Buffalo. We wanted him to eat the best of the best, so we used Blue Buffalo. Blue Buffalo is rated very high for many breeds of dogs. We noticed that it was kind of going right through him, so we tried like different flavors. We went from salmon to chicken to turkey. Still nothing worked. Then we went to the Simple Basics, which is for dogs who have allergies. Still, they weren't using it. He wasn't getting used to it at all. So finally, we did more research, and there is a dog food called Core Life. And this type of dog food is actually best for Cavalier King Charles Spaniels. And he loves it. He eats it immediately, and he doesn't have to go to the bathroom right after he eats. He can, hold it and everything. So just trying to find, the best dog food is kind of a hassle, but it's so well worth it in the end. Even though the Core Life works for Winley, I know it may not work for all Cavaliers. So just talking to your vet, making sure that you know what your Cavalier is dealing with. If they do have, trying to get on my lap, if they do have an allergy, you need to make sure that you talk to your vet about that. They are great to give you advice, and just do your research. They're so special to our families that we want to make sure that they are okay. My next question is there a difference between the male and female personalities? I've been lucky enough I grew up with a female Cavalier, and when she passed away, my family got a male Cavalier, and his name's Rudder, and he's about 3-4 years old now. So I have seen the differences between the male and the female. Our female Cavalier, Meadow, she was in love with my mom, my dad, and myself. And my poor sister did not get along with this dog. Meadow was never aggressive. She just never went and laid with my sister, never wanted to play with like my sister a lot. Like she was, on the couch. Meadow would come to myself or my mom or dad, and not my sister. So it's just the females kind of attract to one or two people, and then everybody else is kind of off to the wayside. No aggression problems, but just they don't um, they don't connect to everybody. Then we got Rudder, and he is the complete opposite, and which made my husband and I want our own male Cavalier. And with the males, they are so affectionate to everybody. Even though they are very connected to, their owners, they still will go to everybody. Very good around children. We don't have kids yet, but there are a lot of kids in our neighborhoods, and he loves when they come. They pick him up, they kiss him and everything, and he just licks their face and thinks it's the best thing ever. So any way you go, when you get a Cavalier, you're going to get a good personality. Just make sure that you know that if you do have a family, that if you do get a female, they are more prone to be sticking with one or two people rather than the whole family. My next question is the personality of a Cavalier. Sorry. With the personality of a Cavalier, are they good for staying home? I am a school teacher, so I work from 7 to 4 every day. My husband is a graphic designer, and he's gone from 8 to 5 every day. So with Winlee, he's gone, or he's by himself, more than half the day, and they are loving it. I mean, he would rather have us here, but he is completely content being at home by himself. Cavaliers have been rated like top 10 best dogs for New York City apartment living. They don't mind small spaces. They don't need a lot to go outside and run. They don't need a lot of that. All they need is a lap to lay on when you're home, and when you're gone, they need a cozy bed or a kennel, and then food and water. We leave him most of the day. He has his own room, and he has his bed. He has all of his toys. He has food, water, and we block him in, so he doesn't have the full range of the house, but he has a whole entire living room to himself, and which allows him to like look out the window and everything. So he has a really great setup, and this has really helped him with like potty training. So, but if you have a busy life, you're gone a lot of the time. Yes, Cavaliers are great for this type of lifestyle, but you also need to make sure when you get home that your attention is to them, because they're going to be so excited to see you. They're going to miss you so much, and they're going to want to play now. My next question is training. So training can be difficult with Cavaliers. Winlee over here. Oh, he's grumpy. Oh, you're okay. Say hi. Hi. With Winlee, he's very stubborn. He is like having a child. He say hi to everybody. Our vet kind of jokes around with us that he's like a human, because he just has an attitude sometimes. He's very well trained, but like if he doesn't feel like it one day, he just doesn't want to. So it's been difficult with training for a few things. He is all about food. So if you have food, he's going to do anything to get it from you. And most Cavaliers are like that. Being on the lazy side of a breed, it is difficult for training. They would rather sleep sometimes than, sit and stay and go fetch a toy. So it can be difficult. The one problem that we were having was the potty training. We did start out for probably 6 to 8 months as a puppy. He was kennel trained, which I highly recommend, because he realized that he does not have to he can't go potty in that kennel, or he's going to be sitting in there. So he knew immediately that we don't go potty in the kennel. When he got to be, almost a year old, we took him out of the kennel, and he has our living room now that he stays in. And we do leave the kennel out for him, and if he wants to go in, for a while he was still going in there and laying. Now he has a nice uh, therapeutic bed, so he doesn't um, go in the kennel as much because he likes his bed more. But I would really recommend kennel training because they love confined spaces. They like to be in smaller spaces. They like to be warm and cozy. And it's good for them to, know their limits. Right, Wendy? Right? Yeah. Um, my next question, let me see. My next question is, where are you? Oh, there we go. When I'm how some people have said that should you take your dog to training classes, I would highly recommend that. I feel like for any breed, it's good to have training classes, just because we all live busy lives. We don't really know a lot of, most people aren't very well educated about how to train a dog, the proper ways to train. I know we weren't always, great with training. So it's always great to like have classes because even though the dog's learning, so are you. Um, when we found out about training, he was probably a year old, and they said that once they hit a year, it does make it more difficult for them to learn um, new skills. It's hard to break different things. So, what I would recommend is in the first few months that you have your Cavalier, that you need to make sure that you do training classes or talk to somebody who's experienced in that to help you. There's many books on it, so I also recommend that. You want your Cavalier to be, very well mannered. Definitely, if you have children, if you have guests over a lot, you want to make sure that they're not jumping on them. They're potty trained. They, God forbid, they nip or anything, which I'd be surprised about. But you want to make sure that they are very well mannered. Um, for any other questions, you can visit our blog at King Winlee, the Cavalier, at WordPress.com. We are adding different things about Winlee. We have bark box reviews, which he just received his second bark box, and we're loving it. I've been creating memes on him, which are hilarious. It's a blog where you learn about Winlee, more about Cavaliers. You see some cool pictures and everything. And if you have any questions, please throw us a comment. We'd love to answer them and love to meet more people. Well, have a great day, guys. I hope I answered many of your questions. We'll talk to you later. Bye. Say bye, Winlee.